Hello everyone, you're welcome to Ebit Media show. Thank you so much for staying tuned to our content. I hope you've been gaining value. Thank you so much. If this is your first time of joining us, kindly hit the subscribe button. And for those of us that have been with us for a long time, thank you so much. We appreciate your time here. My name is Kunya today, and today we're going to be having an interesting conversation. We have a beautiful guest with us that will be doing justice to this subject. And the title of our conversation today is Exam Malpractice and Academic Integrity. I want you to stay tuned to this conversation because it's a very important aspect of our lives as young people, as students, as teenagers, even as parents and educators. So we need to have this conversation because it's one thing that has been rampant in our society today and has gone a long way to affect our educational system. We also love your inputs as we journey. Thank you so much. So I'll be introducing our guest speaker today. Thank you so much, Ma, for joining us. Please, can you tell us about yourself?
Okay, thank you so much, Ma. Thank you so much. My name is Amarachi Gift Onyediako, and I'm so delighted to be here. I'm a student from the University of Port Harcourt, a biomedical student.
Okay.
I'm into graphic designing, and then I'm also a product manager. Yes, thank you, Ma, for having me.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much, Ma, for joining us. So we have Miss Amarachi today, and like you heard her say, she's a student of the University of Port Harcourt. So who better person is in position to talk about the subject? So we have a student who is in the system, and I believe she'll be doing justice to this conversation. So Ms. Amarachi, in the light of the topic exam malpractice, can you please give us an overview of what examination malpractice is all about?
Okay, examination malpractice is any illegal acts, carried out by the students, most especially for undergraduates, before the exam, during the exam, and after the examination that is against the rules and regulation and the conduct of that particular exam. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I heard you say an illegal act.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So if this is well stated, like this is an illegal act, why is it that students are usually involved in cases of exam malpractice? I mean, research has shown that the percentage of students that are caught in this act is increasing on a daily basis. So what are the factors that surrounds this particular act?
Okay, there are so many factors that could, make students want to engage in examination malpractice. And then I'll just be mentioning a few, but whatever I'm going to be mentioning is not going to be limited to those factors.
Yeah.
So we have a case where we have inadequate or teachers that are not properly trained. Yes. So a case where you have teachers that are not qualified, that are not able to impact the required skill and knowledge to the students, because we know that people learn differently.
Yeah.
So there are different ways of impacting a particular knowledge to a student. So in a case where the teacher is not properly trained to be able to equip these students and prepare them for these assessments or these tests, you find out that the children may want to resort to examination malpractice. They want to find ways of covering up for the teacher's lapses.
Yeah.
So we could have cases where we have inadequate infrastructure in schools. So for schools that do not have well-equipped classrooms, where conducive places where students can stay to learn or even write examinations, sometimes you find out that we have, for an example, for an exam setting, you could find out that we are supposed to have about 3,000 students come to sit in just a space that has just 100 seats, for students, and then they will start telling the students to pay, they don't provide a conducive environment for students to write the exam. That can give room for the students who want to cheat, especially for students that are dishonest and maybe did not prepare well for the exam. Another thing that could make a student to want to engage in examination malpractice is so much workload within a short period of time. So some students have a lot to cover. They have so many engagements. So much workload could be that it's not just academic workload. It could be outside school activity. It could be maybe social activity or work activity or certain things that are engaging them. So they have a lot to do within a short period of time. And then if they're not able to make up for that, they would want to look for other means, other unfair means to want to cover up. Because what is expected from them, this expectation of that you are starting to come back with a certain grade. Yes, so for people that are still undergraduate, you're expected to come back with the first class. For people that are still in maybe secondary school or maybe primary school, you're expected to have nothing, lower than third position, first, whether you're the first or the second or the third. So there's this pressure from where you are coming from to meet up to expectations. So people do not want to be perceived or seen as unlearned or people that are not smart. So they want to use the shortest means ever, to do that. Another reason why people could actually cheat could be due to peer pressure, the kind of friends that they have. So most of the times we feel like our friends do not have the ability, or people communicate do not have the ability to influence us, but they strongly do have the ability to influence us. So for cases where you could have your friends that engaging in the act, they could actually demoralize you from reading, the best way to actually gain good success. They could encourage you to, take the shorter route. And then if you're someone that's maybe you're a hardworking student, you read your book, and then you begin to notice that maybe after the end of any assessment and you get to compare your grade with that of your friend and maybe getting the person's grades through unjust means, and then you are seeing that the person is getting better grades than you may want to succumb to the act or maybe to the pressure of wanting to get your grades like that. I think for most persons it's because of they come into a setting where they are doing something they do not love. When a thing is not defined, when you don't have your why of what you're doing, why you're doing a particular thing.
Why.
Yes, a strong why. There is great chances of you, abusing or not fully maximizing, your potential in that particular area. So in terms of for persons that maybe in university kind of setting, undergraduates in tertiary institution, they could actually come into a course that they do not like, or they admitted into a course that they do not like. And then university, when we don't get what we desire, it's people giving us, and it's not us, getting it. Yes. So that kind of setting, the student's mind is not prepared. Yes, it's not prepared. So, but you've received this stern warning from the house that you can't come with anything lower than this. So when it's that time for exam, it just dawned on them that it's time for exam. There is that pressure, yes, that pressure to pass, and then most persons will now want to indulge in examination malpractice. Another strong thing why people may want to indulge in examination malpractice because those persons that are caught are not actually punished. We find, we see this majorly in the university kind of setting that some persons, are caught, involving in examination malpractice. And we know that there are different types or forms of examination malpractice. We have the cheating, we have the impersonation. So there are so many things. We have the cooperation where, two persons have already arranged themselves. We are going to cooperate and sit for this exam. And then, so there are so many forms of examination malpractice. And then maybe when a student is caught talking in the exam hall or maybe with an external material, coming into the exam with an external material, the student may just be asked to stand for 5 minutes and then sit back. There is no disciplinary measure carried out, So this actually discourages students that are actually hardworking. So in a situation where a student is not, severely punished, or we have an act and a law for persons that actually engage in examination malpractice. So what we find out is that people that engage in this kind of misconduct are not punished, and that can actually discourage a hardworking student. So these are some of the things that can actually make people to want to engage in examination malpractice.
These are very valid reasons, and if we want to sit on each and every one of them, discover that these are things that are eating deep into the educational system of the country. Like you mentioned, pressure from friends. So you're in that setting where everybody's doing it. right? Like everybody's doing it, and then you are trying to read, you're trying to do what is right, and then you discover that this person that is taking the shortcuts is excelling more, and like, oh, what's the need of me reading? Like, why do I have to study? Why do I have to read?
And there's a shortcut.
Yeah, so I can just play all through the semester, and then the night before the exam, I can just write in the piece of paper, and I can talk with my friend. So there's this thing when I was in school, and they'll be like, oh, I'm your seatmate. Yes, don't close your book.
Yes, I think the word is less form compass.
Yeah, that's the word. So it's becoming a norm. It's becoming a norm, right? And then you also mentioned one other valid point about people coming to university with a particular course in mind, and then maybe they couldn't make it, and then they are given something else, or it could even be pressure from parents. So there are some parents that they have this tendency of wanting to choose a particular path for their children. So they feel, oh, you can be a medical doctor. Why do you want to study art? Why do you want to be an artist? Why you can be a medical doctor, right? So I've heard stories of young people that they have this passion for a particular thing, but because it wasn't validated, because their parents did not accept it, so they now want to do a particular course that
their parents,
and they have little or no knowledge about this particular area, and then they are forced to go the other parts of indulging in malpractice just to excel, just to please their parents. So these are factors that are very important that we need to have conversations on. So let's look at these factors.
I think there's something else that came to my mind. You know, the school policy getting to admit people that are not qualified for a particular department can actually lead to examination malpractice. So when we have people that have not gone through the process of, preparing themselves for a particular course, especially for professional courses, you see them wanting to come into that place, and then they are struggling to meet up with other students. So to be able to meet up with them, they would want to compromise the normal way of getting to read their book, study, and then do that. So if we can look into the education system, and then it's properly monitored, both the persons that is taking care of the admission process and all that, if these things are actually monitored, and then the right persons come into their different departments, I think we can actually cope examination malpractice. So having people that are given admission that are not supposed to be in that department can actually make people to want to engage in examination malpractice.
I think with this point, we've already delved into the second part of this conversation. I was going to bring up, we talking about the roles that these different sectors play in curbing exam malpractice. So we have our parents, we have the educators, the tutors, we have the students, and then we have the system itself. So can you highlight some of the roles that these different persons play in either encouraging exam malpractice or discouraging it? So more like the roles, the things that they can put in place to ensure that this particular menace is curbed.
Okay, thank you so much, McQueen, for asking that question. Because these different persons that you mentioned are key, and they could also be a reason why people can actually engage in examination malpractice, and they can also help in also trying to curb the educational system, because the educators, they do not have the primary assignment to do. Everything begins from home. Everything begins from home, your environment, where you're coming from, where your primary education, your secondary education, before you even get to the tertiary institution. There are some schools that feel like it's okay and it's normal. I think the term that is being used in secondary school is help. Let's help the students. Let's help the students. So, for our parents, the role that they play in examination, that could lead students to want to get examination malpractice. You see, they will tell you, I think I heard a parent say one time that do what you see others do. Follow them. Follow them to excel. They are all doing it. That is how the system is.
And they're also willing to pay.
They're willing to pay. You see parents that are actually willing to pay their way for their students. I see parents that are calling their children and say, how much is that lecturer asking you for? I did not ask people to get any amount of money for this particular course, what are they doing? You hear the word shine your eyes, or
some can even go to the extent of calling the teachers
gears themselves. And this is very, very wrong. The discipline is supposed to start with the parents. So parents, how often do you sit your children down and tell them to study their books? Yes, the teachers and the educators or the instructors in school have their own role to play, but even as a parent, you have the responsibility to also train your children to cultivate and to be disciplined to study their book. When they come back home, what do they do with their time? You go through the assignments, you look at these assignments, you prepare your children for the exams, or you just leave them to write the exams. How often do you engage your children to know how they even write the exams? So the parents have their own role to play. So if the parents can take out time to look into what their students do, I think in secondary school they do what is called open day, and then some parents are not even concerned about how their children are doing in school, because it's this open day that gives you the avenue to know how your child is doing,
his performance.
Yes, the child's performance. If the child is very good at this subject or this subject, that will even help you to be able to help your child, to direct your child in the path the child should take up as a career path. So the parents have a great role to play to be able to help to curb this examination malpractice. If you are a parent and then you maybe your child finds him or herself in a setting where they are asked to pay a certain amount of money, if your parents and you decide that you will not give your child that amount of money, and then your child learns to, because I see that, I think that this happens more often for YX students, people that are writing SSCE. They are asked to, the persons that paid are separated from the persons that didn't pay.
They say it's heaven and you're in heaven and you're in heaven. So if you pay the amount,
you'll be assisted, you'll be helped. That's the word. So it's not examination malpractice. The word is you'll be helped. And if you didn't pay, you'll be asked to just sit in a particular place and you are secluded. So if parents decide that they will not give their children, that money, you will see that the children will be able to write the exam in a fair setting, and then they will be able to be assessed the way that they are supposed to be assessed, and that will bring credibility to the process of this examination, and then the outcome of the results will be good. Finding yourself in a place where there's so much competition in the school, and then your teacher, this is part of the educators too.
And then before we go into that part of the educators, I just want to add something to the role that the parents they play. You made mention of parents not giving their children the liberty to pay up those amounts and all of that.
Exactly.
I also feel that the parents should be involved in the lives of their children outside the house, so they should also get engaged with what they do in school. So they should make these educators accountable too. So this exam we are sitting for, I heard that we are supposed to pay a certain amount of money. What is it for? Like get engaged
question
system. Be involved in the policy making, right? So my child is in a particular school, I want to know what's going on, how do they write the exam, what's the setting like. Just like you mentioned the open day, I go to the school, I try to find out. And also to add to that, parents should also try to know what their children are good at, right? So you can guide your children effectively on the right career path to take. So you're not in a position where you have to choose for the child. So visiting their schools, going for the open day, getting in touch with their teachers to know what's the tendencies of my children, even at home, what are those things they love doing. So are they good in the sciences? Are they good in arts? So how can I help my children to make the right choices in their career path? So these are very important. So I just wanted to add to the roles the parents can play.
Exactly. This will help the parents to be able to know where they can actually assist their children. So if your child is having difficulty in mathematics, your child is having difficulty in the sciences, you know that you are supposed to employ the aid or the assistant of a professional, a trained professional that can help your child. So in a case where you don't even know your child's ability, and your child's performance, you cannot be able to do, this kind of thing. So I think for the educators, we have certain teachers that actually help the student. I don't know why I'm using this word help, because that's the popular word we hear. It's no longer seen as evil.
Yeah.
You know, it's just seen as help. You want to assist the student. But on the part of the educators, you know, they have the great role to see to the fact that their students have healthy competition among themselves. Yes. The part of a teacher wanting to see his or her student, you know, perform well, and then see that they fairly compete. You know, not a certain way you want to allow your student, you want to help your student. I think the word is help. They want to help them. I think the joy of every teacher is to see that his or her student is actually properly equipped, you know, and educated. So the educators, you know, the educators, if they do not cop this system, if they want to, is place where it happens mostly for external exams. So yes, they want to assist their students. When you train your students, or you begin to assist them, you give them that room to want to relax. Yes, they will want to relax. So you create that room for relaxation, and then they will not want to strive or work hard, because they already have that mindset that our teachers will help us. Yes. So, because if you notice, for persons that write WAEC this period, especially for secondary school students, most of them do not read their books, and you wonder why a secondary student is not studying so hard. You know, then during our own time we read through the night, but now you don't see them reading through the night so much, because they are relaxed. The school is going to help them to pass the exam. So, you know, the educators have their own role to play. How will you know that, or how can you beat your chest and say that I'm a good educator, I'm a good teacher, or I'm a good instructor, when your students cannot prove, you know, the fact that they've been properly equipped or educated? So I think that, you know, these are the roles that educators can play. And then sometimes they want to collect money ahead of time. Yes. So the place of leaking examination questions. You know, educators can also be a factor to why people want to engage in exam misconduct. So you hear things like, bring 10,000 naira and you have a good grade, you know, for this course. And for some persons, 10,000 naira, it's very it's something they can afford, just to get the paper. Yes, just to get the paper. It's nothing for them. They won't want to work hard. They will just give the amount of money to get the leaked exam questions, and they maybe prepare ahead of time, you know, for it. So educators can also play a key role. I see in exam settings where a teacher or an invigilator is asked to go and ask another student about a particular question, and then the teacher boldly goes to ask the other student, or goes to look through the other student's notes, and come and tell the student what it is. So is that a healthy setting? Is it what we want for our country? Is it what we want for the education system? Imagine having, you know, doctors. Imagine coming to a place and then they are telling that this doctor did examination malpractice. You want to touch you. You won't want that doctor to treat you, right? You know, or maybe you'll see a nurse that you hear that the nurse, you know, engage in any form of the examination malpractice to scale through. You wouldn't even want that, you know, that nurse to teach you. So we to treat you. So we are not supposed to, you know, allow this kind of things. And then the school too, they have their own, you know, they have certain things they do that can be able to encourage examination malpractice. Stuffs like not, you know, punishing those people that actually engage in examination malpractice. So yes, the law have policies, you know, there are protocols to ensure that disciplinary actions are taken. Yes, but are these protocols, or people involved in ensuring that these protocols are taken, are they people of integrity? Are they people of integrity? So yes, we need to look into the system. I think these are the various roles that they can play, because if the person engaging in this act is not punished, and is seeing that the person is punished, you are giving room for other people to want to take up the action or want to engage in examination malpractice. So they will be like, oh, the other person did it and he wasn't punished. So finding the difference. Yes. So it's very important that
system, the people in charge of these policies, they ensure that these people involved in misconduct, they face the consequences of their action, right?
Exactly.
This conversation is getting more interesting. I hope you're getting value. I hope you're getting value. It's something that we all need to put our voices out there, because at times I imagine if a student in primary school, student that is taking the common entrance exam. I remember then as a primary school student, we were taking this exam, the common entrance exam, and then we already started. Actually, we got to a point where the teacher, my teacher then, came, and then he was like writing on the board. Says number 1 Adam, number 2 banana, number 3 cow. Wow. Which means ABC. Primary 6. I mean, this was primary 6 exam. Right? So, and then that was more like the first time I was introduced to, and they were more like, let us help them. And the funny thing is, they want to put their school out there, that their students are performing well. Right? So with little or no integrity. So this is an issue, and let's move down to this question. What do you think is the future of the educational system if this problem is not fixed with immediate effect? So on the long run, what are the effects that we can see? What is the impact of exam malpractice on the system?
Okay. The truth is that education is the bedrock of any nation. That's one thing we need to always remember. So if the system is failing, it means that the nation is also failing. And that can grossly affect the economy of the nation.
Yeah.
So if we have people that are not properly trained, in certain skills, it will really show. It really show in the economy of that particular nation. So we need to really take our education system very, very seriously. The things that can actually happen if we do not if we do not have examination malpractice is one. Something that can happen is that we begin to see that we have students that are not trained, students that are dishonest, students that do not have integrity, and we do not want to start raising people that are not honest people and people that do not have integrity. This will affect them in any sphere of life that they decide to enter, or any career path that they decide to take up. So we need to ensure that the credibility, and imagine getting to compromise from something as little as exam. You want to compromise in every area of your life. Every area of your life. So this can actually grossly affect the students, and in a way that it can also affect the students is that the student do not know his or her capabilities. If you are someone that do not write an exam by yourself, you don't know the areas where you can do well, it will be difficult for you to even choose a career path for yourself, even outside school. And in a certain way, thank God for how the interviews for jobs are done now. You must really show the stuff you are made of, your skills, your expertise. They want to ask you questions, they want to probe you and know. Yes, they want to probe you and know if you are really equipped to take up that particular job. So if we have a system where, and this can actually bring laxity in the part of the educators. So if there is a medium of helping the students, the teachers will just feel relaxed and they will no longer want to teach. They will no longer want to impart the knowledge.
Classes once in a while.
Yes, once in a while, whenever they decide to go to classes. And then sometimes they will come during exam period.
That's the first time you see them.
That's the first time you see them. And then they want to finish 5 topics, or take up a whole course in a day. Something that is supposed to be for maybe like 13 weeks. So
at the end of the day, they will get paid.
Yes, and then that is academic fraud. That's academic fraud. That is so bad. So this can actually affect the students. And then another thing too that can actually, what examination malpractice can do is that it can actually demoralize students that actually want to learn. Yes, people that want to learn. This saying that school is scam is not just because of people are unemployed. It's to the fact that there is no longer like there's no integrity again in the academic system. Yes.
People no longer trust the system.
People no longer trust. There is no fairness. There's no healthy competition. So there is no need for people to go to school. And then you see that some people will not even go through, the secondary classes, like, the the JS1, JS2, down to SS3. They will just want to go and take, SSCE when they are ready to enter university
and another thing too that also happens in case of impersonation. So I've heard of cases where people just pay for this certificate. They don't go to write the exam.
Exactly.
They can be in their houses during the 1 year period, and then somebody's writing in their place. At the end of the day, they will get the results. They didn't sit for the exam.
Exactly.
Results.
It's happening, and it's more now. It's more because we have people that cannot even defend their certificates.
So bad.
We have unemployable labor now.
Yeah.
We have unemployable labor. Yes, we have people that cannot defend their certificates, and it's so heartbreaking. So because the university is supposed to train you in character and in learning. Yes. So when the character is not built, and then they are sending you to the world, or they're sending you to the marketplace, and then your character is not built. So there's no sustainability for the country. There's no sustainability for the country. I just pray, and I'm hopeful, that something can be done. The persons kept to monitor, this system. Are they really doing their job? We don't even have people that buy textbooks. People don't buy textbooks to read again. I don't know. People don't read books again. I don't know whether it's because of the internet or something. Somebody will just take up. Somebody will be in a particular level, and they don't even have a textbook to show for it. You don't have a textbook. You don't have materials. So it means that if you are leaving that class, there is nothing that you can hold on to or any reference you can go back to after that particular level. So we are seeing the detriment that is causing to the education system, and people no longer have interest to want to give their breasts for it. Yes.
Oh wow. This is a lot. Actually, this is a lot, and I hope that our viewers are gaining value, and you're also seeing the pain points of this particular conversation. I hope you are going to lend your voice, and also you as a person, you're going to take that step to curb this issue of exam malpractice. So in your little corner, while we are hoping that the people in power, the policymakers, they come up with policies that would help us to put this issue to a stop. We also hope that in your little corner you're doing what you can do, right? You're playing your part to ensure that we're not so caught in the web of exam malpractice. Okay, so while we wrap up this conversation, I would love our speaker to throw more light on the strategies that can be implemented by our institutions, by our parents, by the educators to ensure that this issue of exam malpractice is reduced to this barest minimum.
Okay, thank you so much. That's a very important question to this topic we're talking about. Because what we're talking about is examination malpractice and academic integrity. So to be able to uphold and sustain the academic integrity of the education system, it's very, very important that first, teachers are trained and equipped. I admire schools that allow or permit their educators or give room for the educators to go through trainings and seminars. That helps to also build the teacher. You are training the teacher on what they are supposed to do, how they are supposed to impact this knowledge to students. So the school have their own part to properly employ trained teachers, trained educators. And then for the parents, you have your own role and responsibility to ensure that your children is studying. Your children, if they are successful in life, it will be first to your own benefit before it's the benefit of any other person, even before it's the benefit of the nation. So it's important that you ensure that you put things into play. Enroll your children in lessons. Enroll your children in conferences or educational settings where they can actually grow. It's very, very important. This can help. Try to have conversations with your children, normal conversation when you're having difficulties. I can remember when one of my cousins was trying to prepare herself for, I think it was post-UTME, yes. What I asked her was that, what subject are you not doing well? Because I didn't know where to start. It was a very short time. So, and she was like, chemistry. I know that we took a certain period of time to talk about that particular subject. And it's to our amazement that she did very well in that particular subject. So you need to have good conversation with your children, get to know them, get to know their capabilities and how you can come in to help them. And then for those in the education board, the system, please, it's important that they still go to school to supervise. I know that some schools can actually bring in the culture, maybe deceiving those persons that are supposed to supervise the system, if the system is now corrupted or not. But it's important that maybe we pay all this kind of surprise visit to schools. You must inform the school that you are coming, once in a while. So what happens is that, a particular school is informed, and then maybe if it's a school that do not have an equipped lab, they rush to get equipment, to ensure that the lab is in a good setting, and clean the whole place. It could be that they replace the board or go to borrow seats. Meanwhile, those things are not even there. So it's important that we pay attention to what is happening in school. Do students read their books now? What are the things that we can actually do to ensure that students still read their book? I truly respect universities that do not allow their students to have access to their cell phones. Yes, because it causes a lot of distraction. If there can be that kind of setting where the access to which people maybe make use of their phone or the time that they spend on their phone. The truth is that teenagers and then young people spend a lot of time on their phone. Yes,
that could be a major factor.
Yes,
distraction.
It's a lot of distraction. Imagine coming back for the day. There's this. It's actually amongst students. You come back for the day after maybe learning from 9 to 5 p.m. And then you be like, let me just relax. Let me know what is happening online. And then your 30 minutes becomes your 1 hour, your 1 hour becomes your 2 hours. You just find that you spent 4 hours
on your
cell phone, just going through the internet, and you've not done anything useful for yourself. So it's very important that we look into these things and then see how we can actually ensure that our students are actually reading their book. Do we have equipped library? Do we have a equipped library? Sometimes we go to the library and then we find out that the books that we are looking for, we cannot even find them in the library. Do we have functioning libraries too? I think we need to pay attention to these things. And then I think continuous assessment of the students. We shouldn't always tell the students or maybe prepare them ahead of time for a particular assessment. I think continuous assessment, getting to assess your students, to know how prepared they are, will help them to do well. Any teacher that has the culture of asking questions, asking all the students, not a certain, not specific, not some person, like asking the students. I think they do well. They do so well. So yes, so let's try to build on those structures and then also provide a conducive environment for examination. Very important. Please. And adequate staff, adequate invigilators, trained invigilators. Some invigilators will just be at the hall and then it's as if that they are not inside the hall because people are doing what they want to do, and they are not doing anything about it. So let's have people that are properly trained for the work. Yes, I think this can actually help.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. It has been an amazing time. And I want to believe that our viewers are taking note of the strategies and policies. And we, just like we mentioned earlier, you're also doing your little bit in your corner to ensure that these things are put in place, because it's not just about having these conversations. We need to take action as well, right? It's this examination malpractice is something that's been in vogue for a long period of time, and the reason why it's still making name and still having that effect in our system is because the people, right? So we still have the good eggs out there, but then what are you doing? Do you want to just shy away from it? So I can't change this, I can't change that. But then the little thing you can do, the little voice you can lend to this, even on social media, right? We can create a campaign for this. Everybody, you lend your voice against exam malpractice. If you see an educator taking that part, you lend your voices, you report cases you see. That will also go a long way to help the country. So that little thing you can do, that little thing, no matter how minute, no matter how insignificant you feel it may be, or maybe you've tried before and it's not working, please go ahead and lend your voice, because something I can imagine, and I believe you would also think, how would our future generation, so your children, what will happen? So if this thing is in vogue at this time, and you see the level at which, the height at which is taking in our system, what will happen in the future generation? So we need to lend our voices. I hope you've been having a wonderful time. You've had a wonderful time with us. Thank you so much. I don't know if our speaker has any concluding points to us.
Okay, so what I just want to say is that for persons that still, trying to maintain that academic integrity, it's very, very important. I just want to encourage you. It may not speak now, but time will tell. Time will tell. Your hard work will not be in vain. I also want to encourage believers. Believers, most times it's as if we are trying to follow the right path, and then we are not seeing the result that we so desire. You hear Christian believers say that I study my book, I do this, and then I'm not seeing that result that I expect and all that. So I just want to encourage you to play your own part. Be diligent in what you do. Be diligent in what you do. You don't know what you're doing now. You're actually training yourself, and then time will tell. Like I said, time will tell. So just be encouraged. Don't compromise. Don't compromise. Please try to still maintain the integrity, and then still work hard. It pays to work hard. I think I learned from somebody that says that it's either you suffer now or you suffer later. Yes, so pay the price of suffering. And I also want to tell you that it's not everybody that will depend on their certificates. That's true. So if you know that you're someone that wants to make use of your certificate, it's important that you work hard, acquire the skill needed, equip yourself in that particular area, and ensure that you're training yourself. Do it for yourself, do it for the country, do it for the generations coming. Please ensure that you train yourself. And then if you see somebody engaging in these acts, and you happen to be around people that are credible, people that still have this integrity, please ensure that you report the acts. Do not allow anybody to pressure you into indulging in examination malpractice. You hear people say stuff like they are being threatened. Please report. Don't be silent, don't be quiet about it, don't keep calm about it. Report. Do not allow anybody to coerce you or to force you or to blackmail you into engaging in examination malpractice. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Marachi. We thank our viewers for staying tuned. If you stayed to this point, thank you so much. I believe you got immense value, and you're going to take action on everything that has been discussed. Please, if you have your suggestions, if you have your inputs, we appreciate them. You can put them in the comment section. And if you're yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel, please do well to subscribe, because we have lots of amazing and interesting content that will be coming your way. Thank you so much once again, Mr. Marachi, for gracing our show. We hope to keep this conversation moving forward. Please do well to put your insights, your comments, and the things you've learned from the conversation. as well, right? Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much,
Um,
Janet.
all right, thank you. Please do have an amazing day. Bye.